Welcome to Coffee Habit number 2. I am your host, Echo Fan Grey Wolf, and these are some questions that I have for Transformers fans only. I'm a Transformers fan, but I stopped reading the comic when IDW was taken over. Same with G.I. Joe. So if you're an IDW fan, this isn't for you, unless you can answer the question without throwing in the super omega retcon that IDW did to Transformers and G.I. Joe. Like in G.I. Joe, they took away Snake Eyes' ability to talk because his throat got cut. No, in Marvel, Snake Eyes was severely injured, but he could still talk. He took a vow of silence until he found out that it was Zartan who unalived or killed, I'm not on TikTok so I can say the word, who killed the Hardmaster. And Storm Shadow also didn't know, and he thought it was Snake Eyes, which is why he was trying to kill Snake Eyes, which is why Storm Shadow joined G.I. Joe after finding out that it was fucking Zartan. Alright? Not Firefly, it was Zartan. Just in case those who watched G.I. Joe Renegades are a little bit confused. Zartan killed the Hardmaster. Not any of the Dreadnoks. In case you're wondering, Zartan is also a member of the Arashikage. Or at least he was before it was retconned. I know you're thinking, how? How the fuck else can you kill somebody that's one of the most deadliest people on Earth without you being somebody in their society? Because in most cases, it takes someone like the person that you're trying to kill to catch them, i.e. Geronimo. It took other natives to teach the American army how to catch Geronimo. Alright, just want to put that out there in case y'all don't understand how that shit worked. No one was stopping Geronimo. Nobody. Nobody was stopping Geronimo. Nobody. Give a fuck who you are or what you've been told. Nobody was fucking stopping Geronimo. They needed different natives to stop Geronimo. Anyway, moving on. We're on Transformers, not G.I. Joe, and not Geronimo. Long live Geronimo. Anyway, so on TikTok, I have watched Rodimus Prime being choked by Galvatron. Now, back in the 80s, I didn't think this all the way through. So, question number one. Do the Transformers fucking breathe oxygen? Or carbon dioxide? Or is oxygen or air a thing for them, like it is for us? And yes, we do know that Cybertron has oxygen on it because both Spike and Carly have been to Cybertron through the space bridge with Megatron at least once or twice. So that's an answer for that. But everywhere else they've gone in Transformers the movie, they all had on apparatuses so they can breathe. You know, their transformation suits, you know, because Daniel transformed and zapped some things. And later in the story after that, where Daniel would have to be in RC's head when she became a headmaster Transformers. Irrelevant, but fact on fact. Do the Cybertronians, including Autobots and Decepticons, do they fucking breathe air? Which goes to question 2. Why is Galvatron choking the dog shit out of Rodimus Prime and going, first Prime, then Ultra Magnus, and now you. It's a pity Autobots die so easily, or I might have a sense of satisfaction now. By that time, you know, the Matrix starts going, and Rodimus grabs a hold of it. Hot Rod grabs a hold of it and boots the shit out of Galvatron and transforms into Rodimus Prime. And then Rodimus gets the Matrix shot out of his hand, but he doesn't revert back down to Hot Rod. He just stays Rodimus. And then all of a sudden, he's like this major power amp. So how much of a power amp does the Matrix give Rodimus Prime that he doesn't transform back once he becomes Rodimus Prime until later in the series where he gives the Matrix back to Optimus? So, yeah. Anyway, long story short, what the fuck is going on there? Because you see Galvatron, he starts like gorilla hammering Rodimus, and Rodimus is like barely struggling, and he picks him up, and Hulk Hogan's him through a fucking living being's body named Unicron. So, again, question 1. Do the Autobots, the Decepticons, the Quintessons, anything robotic in the Transformers universe, not IDW, only in Marvel and Hasbro, in the cartoons and in the original comics, do they fucking breathe air? What the fuck? Is that even a factor? Did they breathe air? We know that Cybertron has oxygen on it, but do the Autobots and the Decepticons breathe air? Somebody needs to answer that question because I need to know. Do the inhabitants of Cybertron, and I'm not talking about Beast Wars or Beast Machines where they change everything around and make Cybertron organic, which was like the biggest load of cock swizzle you could ever have in your life. But hey, I don't write the story. I just enjoy the cartoons. I really did not enjoy Beast Machines like talking about it. I like Beast Wars because that shit was kind of explained. But they kind of retconned some shit from the Marvel comic. And everything in the Marvel comic was way different versus everything in the Beast Wars cartoon. Right? And then Beast Machines, yeah. How you gonna tell me, after thousands and thousands of years, even after the Golden Age, this Cybertron was once organic? That shit don't make no motherfucking sense. Because if you haven't seen the first episode of G1 Transformers, the Transformers are old as fuck. Alright? Understand that they were alive before human creation, which doesn't really make any sense, but hey, just go with it. In episode 1, they're fighting in space on a planet fucking billions of light years away from fucking Earth. Billions amongst billions. And then they leave to go find a planet that has energy so they can get the energy and come back and win the Cybertron Wars. Because remember, Cybertron had a golden age first. There was no fucking organic life there. Then they had the Silver Age, and during the Silver Age, the Decepticons started war, and they kept having war. Omega Supreme's people were pretty much wiped out, except for Omega Supreme, because the unanswered question is, we don't know where the fuck he was at. And Omega Supreme and them were like the first Cybertronians. They were like the giant Cybertronians. And somehow or another, Alpha Trion and the Oracle and Teletran, whatever the fuck, no one knew what the hell was happening here. And they didn't know the organic beings was on Cybertron before Cybertron was Cybertron. You get the clusterfuck? Okay. So the Decepticons follow the Autobots, attach the tractor beam. They board the Autobot ship, the tractor beam is smashed, and the Decepticon ship hits the ocean. The Autobot ship hits the bottom of a fucking volcano. And it lays there for like 2,000 years or some shit. And then the volcano erupts and launches the little probe. And for some reason, this probe is an idiot. It alives or brings back to life a Decepticon first. You would think that this problem would have been solved if the probe would have been smart enough to bring back the Autobots first. But plot armor, it brings back the fucking Decepticons. They all pull all the Decepticons into the beam, and they leave. Instead of smashing the probe, which would have been the smart thing to do, and the Decepticons could have ruled the universe, but no, plot armor. They leave the Autobots. And by dumb luck, one of the Autobots falls into the beam, wakes up, and brings all the other Autobots back to life. Plot armor a lot, huh? But that's why I know that the Decepticons and the Autobots are old as fuck. And they don't mate, and they don't die, and they don't pee, but they get drunk off of Energon. But how in the fuck when was they ever created? 2, do they fucking breathe air? And 3, what in the hell, or who in the hell created the Quintessons? So was Cybertronian life metal first or organic? But you can see the Quintessons have some organics because they have green vines, and some of them have tentacle hands, so no one knows which Quintessons was first. The ones with the 5 faces were the alien-looking ones, which goes back to these guys breathe air. Now, if you've seen Transformers the movie, the cartoon, there was a lot of death in that shit. Ironhide, Prowl, you don't get to see Silent Streaker or Sideswipe, so they probably were still on Cybertron safe. I don't remember if Wheeljack doesn't make it. We know that Jazz does make it, and Springer, and RC, Hot Rod, and Ultra Magnus. We know that Prime bites the dust. We know that Perceptor makes it. We know that the Dinobots make it. We know that Wheelie makes it. Also, in the movie, they were missing a Dinobot. Y'all might not have noticed that, but they were definitely missing a Dinobot. Anyway, moving on. The whole point being, back to the questions. Why is Galvatron choking Rodimus? Well, Hot Rod, who become Rodimus. What kind of power amp does the Matrix give the leader of the Autobots? And when did Alpha Trion even introduce the Matrix into this thing? Because apparently the Matrix was going on for a very long time, passed from leader to leader to leader. And if you watch it, there is a leader that wants to look like Rodimus Prime. So, he was the third or fourth original leader who became a Prime. We're not using Transformers from IDW's Legend because that's like 13 Primes or some shit, and Orion Prax was like 14th or whatever, and he became Hot Rod. God damn it. He became Optimus Prime. So, there's some shit in IDW that just didn't flow over with me. Now, I like the Hasbro version with the Quintessons being organic metal, etc., and creating the Transformers. They should have really did a deep dive into the Quintessons and how they created the Transformers and Cybertron. But they do tell you Cybertron was supposed to be a manufacturing planet, so whoever created them, they only made the robots to work and be slaves, and the next damn thing you know, the robots rebelled. And then after they got rid of the creators, they turned on each other. So, there's that. Any freaking how. If you guys can answer these questions, that would fucking be great. Because I am a 50-year-old man. And as a kid, I didn't ask these questions because it never dawned on me that the Autobots actually can breathe. I knew they had women because you had a Leader One and her crew. You don't seem to have any female Decepticons for some reason. I don't know if they had female Decepticons until Black Arachnia showed up, in like Beast Wars. But prior to that, I don't recall them having any female Decepticons. Now, back in G1, they only had female Autobots. And I'm counting G1 all the way up to Transformers the movie. Not anything after, like Headmasters and all that. It was still G1. It was just like maybe the third or fourth season. But the Beast Wars was basically, if you don't go by the comic, if you go by the cartoon, it was the Transformers fighting Predaking. Because of all of the Predacons, they were just the Predacons. There were no Terracons and Maximals. None of them shits existed. There was just the Predacons. You had the lion, a bird, a bat, or some shit, and some other shit. And they merged into form Predaking. Alright? Because the combiners all had their little things going on. And then Grimlock got smart and created some combiners. I think they're the rescue bots. I don't remember. Don't really care. But, yeah. The main question that you really need to concern yourself with is, do the Autobots breathe air? Why the fuck was Galvatron choking the dog shit out of Hot Rod? And what kind of power amp is the Matrix where you turn a teenager into a 40-year-old man? Anyway, that being said, I'm Echo Fan Grey Wolf. I hope you guys can answer the question. Please, if you're not a Transformers fan, just watch the video, spread it around until you find someone who can actually answer the question. And remember, no IDW shit. Only Marvel and Hasbro's Origins only. Only G1 shit. The G1 for IDW and whoever the hell is running Transformers now, can't help me. So if that's all you read, you respectfully, your opinion is welcome but not needed. Anyway, that being said, I'm Echo Fan Great. This is Comfort number 2. Be seeing you.